all the guys just helped him over the years. So when I raced against him, I couldn't beat him, you know, so he got hurt, and I don't know who selected me as a driver. I think Gilly did. I think Joey was worried I was going to tear it up, you know, which I probably would have if it hadn't been so fast, but it was a great opportunity, and I'd like to thank, you know, the whole fair crew one more time for helping me, and maybe that give you a little boost to get a little further.
Let's go back one more time. Your earliest recollections of Joey Fair as a driver and how old you probably were when you had those recollections.
Well, it's probably a vision of a flashing yellow as he's going by. You know, it's a good question. I don't remember truly racing against Joey the first time, but I mean, he was so much faster, Danny Bird, and you know, there was one or two other guys that consistently could beat me. I kept feeling that if I had just had the equipment that I could stay up with them, which I was dreaming, I'm sure, at that time. But I had a lot of fun anyway, trying to keep up with him. But you know, Larry, as we stand here, I really don't remember the first time I raced against him, other than he was just so flashingly fast. Is all I can remember.
He was always fast from the super modified days, going back to the old dirt at the Toledo Raceway Park in here. Do you remember any specific race that you had head-to-head against Joey?
Well, the only time I can ever remember is I raced against him, what, 3 or 4 nights a week, and I did have a chance to beat him at Owasso, as I best remember. And the next night was Flat Rock, and boy, what a mistake it was to beat him at Owasso. He let me beat him, and I don't know, he got trapped in traffic, and the whole crew, as I best remember, when he got to Flat Rock, would not even speak to him for giving me a shot, you know, and then he got tangled up in traffic, and I was able to beat him. And probably one of the only times I ever beat him. I always did beat him on fair and square, but had the opportunity to get in front of me. But it was just funny watching him unload the car himself and all the crew members stand around, you know, just to let him know that that should never happen again. That's probably the most memorable situation I had with Joey.
But Joe, we really appreciate you coming today. Joe, by the way, went to a lot of effort to get here. You raced California or something last night?
Las Vegas. We flew all night to get here, so to have the opportunity to honor Joey Fair, it's, again, he's been my hero, still is, and always will be. So it's a shame if any of you folks younger that didn't get a chance to see him race. The older people realize that they kicked everybody's fanny way too many times, but it's a joy to come back and just be honored to have some connection with him.
I'll give you a second to collect your thoughts. I'm going to ask you if you could make one final comment closing the chapter of Joey's racing career. You and he will be friends for a long time, many years to come, but one last comment publicly from you, from Joe Rutman to Joey Fair. You went from the student of Joy to basically an employee. You were a very stiff competitor, and now you're here sharing the final close of this very, very long and successful career. Last comment publicly for Joey Fair.
Probably the finest gentleman I've ever met. I don't know how to put it any better words than that. The finest man I've ever met.
Ladies and gentlemen, he flew all night to be here to honor Joey Fair. Give it up for Joe Rutman. Rick?
And our next honoree made it here this afternoon, and we are glad to have him. He was the 1975 champion. He is the real one. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a nice hand for gentleman Jim Bickerstaff. Jim, glad to have you here. It was so good seeing you run as a kid, watching you out there running with some of the best there was in the business, and taking nothing away from the drivers we have assembled here today. You guys were in a tough little group of your own, and it had to be a heck of a race just to win that Glass City 200 back then, and it must have been a great thrill to run with some of the best there was, including Joe Rutman, Joey Fair, Ed Cooper, John Anderson, Danny Bird, so many good drivers.
It was a lot of fun back then. I'm sure glad that I was able to come back here and participate in Joey's retirement. I'm glad to see the Glass City 200 back that Arcus brought back.
Well, I'll tell you what, we have a great field here today. Watching you guys run was just phenomenal. Back then, the cars were totally different. You were running on those big, gigantic tires, and the speeds here were real good for the time, and it must have been a thrill to be on the high banks running here. And I've seen you run at Sandusky. You used to run there a lot all throughout Ohio, but you had to like it here because the speeds were just awesome in those race cars.
Yeah, this was a fun racetrack to go around. It really was.
Do you have any good memories of running with Joey Fair here, or some of the contests that you put on with him?
I remember he was an awful tough customer.
I think a lot of guys remember that about Joey Fair. What do you think about Toledo Speedway? You like what they've done here, and are you going to come back and see us?
Yes, I am. They've done a nice job here. They have the place looking good. Be glad to come back.
Well, we enjoyed having you here today, Jim. We appreciate you coming out here. I know you had to travel a distance to make it. We hope you enjoyed the show. And one last comment for Joey Fair.
Good luck. Happy retirement.
I think he can do that. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Jim Bickerstaff.
And ladies and gentlemen, he was the 1976 champion of the Glass City 200. I was probably on his crew at that time. He's a good friend of mine. This guy took me up and down the road all over the countryside. Welcome, Ed Cooper. Ed, great to see you again here at the Toledo Speedway.
It's good to be back home. Raised here probably most of my life, and wherever we traveled around the country, we always felt Toledo was home. That just was second nature. We was always home here, and it's good to be back.
Well, I tell you what, it's got to be not only a Glass City 200 winner, but a track champion as well here.
Yeah, had some great moments at this racetrack and get into a lot of wrecks, and probably my fondest memories here are racing against Joey, and Joey rubbed my left rear quarter panel raw all the time, and but it was a great time.
Well, that's where you wanted to paint your car yellow, right?
Yes.
Well, I tell you what, Ed, I always appreciated the fact I know I crewed with you quite a bit, and not only here at Toledo, but running up and down the road, ASA and everything, and I'll tell you what, it is good to have you back here at Toledo, my friend.
It's good to be here. I kind of watched the track decline over the last few years, and it's so good to see the market promotions have got this track back, and I've had some great plans for this track. It's going to make it a great facility once again.
Well, I'll tell you what, and I certainly am happy to call Toledo my home as well these days.
Yeah, you always kind of, when you travel, you always think of one track that you're fond of, and this is happy hour. I mean, my family, my kids learned to count in the grandstands. I mean, they knew Joey Fair was number one. It was always that way, you know?
That's all the farther they got, right?
Well, pretty much.
Well, once again, ladies and gentlemen, how about a nice round of applause for Ed Cooper?